Actually, a sample of our drill core is right there on the first slide. One of the key elements we'll be talking about today, as Jay said, is high grade. So I actually brought a piece with me. So if you've never really seen and picked up a piece of true high grade silver, lead, zinc, this is it. So this interval was 900 grams per ton silver plus over 50% lead zinc. So that's what high grade is and what it looks like. So a couple of highlights I'd like to have you take away from this. We have an entire district, the Illinois Creek District in western Alaska, originally discovered by Anaconda in the 1980s. I had the good fortune to be the first project geologist to run this for Anaconda. Took many years to reassemble the district, but we did, and here we are today. Right about a year ago, before PDAC of last year, we announced our first initial resource at the Water Pump Creek deposit. That's the high-grade silver, lead, zinc core that I just showed you. The resource is 75 million ounces silver equivalent at a grade of 980 grams per ton silver equivalent for the entire resource. Very importantly, besides zinc, which is a U.S. critical mineral, our sphalerite, the zinc mineral, contains gallium. Gallium, not really a word that people talked about a few years ago, but now it's number one on the U.S. critical minerals list. Key to that is it's one of the key elements for active radar displays, which are required by the U.S. military and all fighter aircraft and missile systems. So that lets you know why gallium is number one. We also are very different from other exploration projects. This is really a brownfields project. At the west end of our carbonate replacement system is the Illinois Creek oxide gold deposit. Went in production, first open pit heap leach gold mine in Alaska in 1997. Had the misfortune of financing with the Rothschilds when gold was $3.50 an ounce. Went in production the next year, gold hit $2.63, and that lasted about 14 months. So timing is everything in mining and a lot of other things also. We are on all of our property, and our access route to the Yukon River is all on state of Alaska land. We're not on federal land. Permitting, we get 5-year permits at a time for exploration. And the state of Alaska has given us the entire mine data permit set for the Illinois Creek mine. So that is something that we're continuing to look at, but once we drilled into the high grade at Water Pump Creek, had a choice based on budgeting which one to go after. So we really focused the last 3 years on Water Pump Creek, and the reason is that drill core I showed you in the resource, that's about $900 a ton gross metal value. Mining, G&A, and processing would be about $200 per ton, and therefore you have a tremendous margin. We have about 40 kilometer road that we've engineered to the Yukon River. We'll probably thinking about permitting under the new regime in Washington, D.C., and I think this would be a good time to move ahead with that. And we have an excellent team, which we'll talk about in a minute, besides myself. Joe Pekenbrock, who was with Nova Gold for a decade, really the one that brought the Donlin Gold project to its 40 million ounces. Peter McGaw is really the father and the guru of worldwide expert in carbonate replacement deposits. So I think we have an excellent team. We'll touch on the market cap and the structure a little bit right here. Fairly a good tight share structure, about 64.4 million total issued shares. Of those, only about 42 million, 41.9 are actually free trading. The rest are founder shares. My wife Joan and I founded the company in 2010, so we were private for about 11 years before going public. Very good insider ownership at 32%, which is pretty unusual today. And then plus that, we have some very good institutional partners. Commodity Discovery Fund out of the Netherlands, Crescat Capital in Denver is our largest shareholder. Sprott and Delbrook are also mentioned there. And I would like to thank a couple of our recent shareholders that are here at the meeting today, the folks from Germany at the Deer Gold Report. So we really have two resources. I mentioned the high-grade silver. I don't want to skip by the past-producing gold deposit. It's about 525,000 ounces of gold equivalent. I do want to point out that is entirely historical. We have not yet put modern exploration, geology, and drilling to expand the Illinois Creek deposit. So I think it has a great expansion potential to get up to the million ounce category, but that's going to take extra drilling, which we'd like to do in the near future, but we want to fund the exploration of Water Pump Creek first. So I mentioned the team, the jurisdiction. We are not on Native Alaska land, but we work very closely with the 4 local villages. We've had a local hire program since 2017, a very strong good neighbor policy, and it's been very successful. Mentioned gallium and zinc, so we'll go right by those now, but gallium is not something that is going to be a big cash product in a deposit like this, or really in any other deposit, zinc deposit that holds gallium. What it will change is the permitting regime. When you have 2 critical minerals, gallium plus zinc, that puts you in another world as far as permitting goes. And I think that's where you'll see the change for many states, but most dramatically in Alaska, moving projects such as ours faster. A little bit of a location, you can take a look at this on some of our handouts, but Western Alaska, we're due south of the Red Dog deposit operated by Teck. That is the world's largest zinc deposit, 130 miles north of Donlin, 40 million ounce gold deposit ready to be developed, and about 270 miles west of Fairbanks, which is home to Kinross Fort Knox. Touching quickly on the high-grade resource, this is really the key to our story. The mustard-colored area, that is the original Anaconda discovery. That is oxide silver, very high grade, but it is not included in our resource. The red is the resource, and what makes carbonate replacement deposits very different from other, say, a Mexican high-grade silver deposit. Those are very planar features. This is sort of a large blob of massive sulfides. The intercepts in the resource range from 10 meters to over 100 meters thick. This would be underground mining, a very low capital cost profile. You'd drive a decline to this. It'd be mechanized mining, long hole stope methods, and the room for expansion is really the story going forward in 2015. There is a post-mineral fault on the right-hand side of this, the southern limitation to the resource. Our goal this coming year is just to go across that structure, drill another 50 to 100 meters at depth, and hopefully double or triple the size of this resource. The grades are shown there. Please come by our booth afterwards if you'd like to look at. This is a very important slide courtesy of Agentis Capital. Michael Gray and his group, I think Michael was here yesterday, maybe today. So we are on the left there, our 75 million ounces of silver equivalent, but you can see the grade above that, the 980 grams per ton, makes us higher of all the other 6 companies shown here. What's important about this, it shows there are only 6 undeveloped silver resources today that are controlled by juniors that are over 60 million ounces silver equivalent and have a grade of higher than 200 grams per ton. Our cutoff for a resource is 200 grams per ton. The other thing I think that demonstrates the quality and strength of our team in exploration is, you can barely read it in the lower left-hand corner of this slide. That's the number of ounces discovered per meter drilled, which our rate is about 3,200 ounces of silver equivalent per meter drilled. The high-grade Mexican deposits, Vizsla at Panuco is really one of the best and most successful. Very great market cap, great explorers. Their discovery rate is about 980 ounces per ton, per meter drilled. So it's a different deposit, but it also shows that when you have a very strong exploration team, we discover a lot. This gives you an idea of the scale of our deposit. The Water Pump Creek resource is in the upper right-hand corner, the past producing Illinois Creek mine in the lower left. Those are about 8 kilometers apart. This is all one geologic system, one large CRD system. The metal zoning goes from high-grade gold and copper, high temperature in the left side, and this is a classic CRD system that grades out to the very high grade but more distal lead zinc silver. This is a cross-section of the resource, and really this purpose of this slide is to show you our target areas coming up for this year, which would be the Waterpump Creek South target. We have a couple drill holes above that, but we didn't fully understand the geology several years ago as we just started drilling. Those holes stopped in the brown, which is schist overlying the blue carbonate. The carbonate is the host rock, and so this will be the test coming up this year in 2025. So catalysts are very clear: expand the Waterpump Creek South target and enlarge our resource. We may do some follow-up drilling at Warm Springs. Don't have time to talk about it today. That was a brand new discovery between Illinois Creek and Waterpump Creek last year. And as we're refining our drill targeting, last year the Alaska Geological Survey, in conjunction with the U.S. Geological Survey, funded a multi-million-dollar helicopter electromagnetic survey that covered the entire district. It was anchored at our deposit as the type example, extended another 30, 40 miles to the north. That data will be released any month now. We have some of the initial results, and that is what we're using to help with our drill targeting going forward in the future. So I think with that, we're getting close to the end. I see a couple zeros on the clock. I'll stop with this last slide. This was a past producing mine. We brought out some of the local tribal leaders from the village of Caltag and Nulato to see what we're doing, see their neighbors that are working there. One of the gentlemen, as I presented the story, we talked about the past producing mine, and he raised his hand and he said, well, you know, I actually worked out here at Illinois Creek, and I worked in the gold room. Would you like to see my photo? And I said, well, sure. And so this is a gentleman on the right there as the mine closed. The judge said until we settle all the debts, no gold is being sold, and there's about 150,000 ounces of gold stacked up. They ran out of vault storage space, and so that's just in one of the boiler rooms there at Illinois Creek. So there you go. There's a lot more of that to come, and so thank you very much.